Hi everybody, my name is Marquis Matson. I am a senior academic advisor at Miami-Dade College, Hialeah campus, which is right down the street from you. And I am one of two advisors there that will be working directly with you when you begin at Miami-Dade College. So today you have this wonderful virtual open house, which is pretty neat. And what you'll notice is that I'm here, like I mentioned. My name is Marquis. It's on the very first slide that you should be able to see from your computer. So if you do want to ask for me, that's my name and you can remember it that way. And the other advisor, his name is Mike, and he is there at Westland High School at the moment. So if you look around, I'm sure you'll see him because there's him and then there's Kim, which is an advisor that works with you at your high school. So if you have any questions throughout this thing, you can go ahead and talk to him. Or if you want to, you can type a question to me in your questions box now, and then I'll see them as they pop up and I'll be able to answer them. Okay, so let's get started. Today I wanted to talk about what career to choose, because that's a very important part of college and that's the whole reason why you're here in the first place. And it's really important that you begin to think about it now, because a lot of students, they'll come in and they'll say, I don't really know what I want to do, and they'll start taking classes, and that costs a lot of money. So it's important that you know what you want to do, or at least have some kind of idea so you can start taking classes and not waste any time. You want to be able to come in with a good idea of the beginning, so like the medical field or the law field or criminal justice, something like that, so that way you can at least start taking core classes that will apply to any program in that field. So the reason why you start thinking about it now is because it's the rest of your life. It's a big deal, and if you don't start thinking about it, you could waste a lot of time. Me, for example, I changed my major lots of times in college. I started out as business because my dad owns his own business, and I felt like, well, I should own my own business too. So I started out as a business major, and then I took all these business classes, and I realized this is really boring. I don't really like it that much. And so I switched into psychology because I had taken a psychology class as a core requirement, which you will have the opportunity to do as well. And I loved it. I thought it was so fun and it was easy for me. It just came naturally, and I really looked forward to going to class. So I was a psychology major. And then I was taking classes and really into it, and I realized there's a lot of research and I don't really like research. So I switched my major again to child development because I just had fun in those classes and I thought it was neat. And I realize now that child development doesn't really do much for you, but I had fun in those classes. And so if I had planned when I was in high school and researched and looked into what might have matched my personality, maybe I would have had a different path. So I tell you this so that way you can start planning now, but also so that way if you do change your major, you know this is pretty much normal and it's okay and you have time. The good thing is that there are some core classes that apply to your major or pathway no matter what you end up choosing. So for example, the core English class applies to every single pathway that we have, or the math structure is fairly similar in the beginning to every single pathway. So your first semester probably won't be a waste, but after that you should have a good idea of what you want to do. Okay, so how do we figure that out? That's why we're here. I have this fancy presentation and my fancy video, so that way you can figure it out from home or wherever, and then come into Miami-Dade ready to go. So the very first slide you'll be able to see on your screen, I am going to first ask you some questions that are pretty important before you begin. A lot of times people will go into college and they'll have this idea of what they're supposed to do based on what their parents say or what their friends say or what they heard on the news or on TV, on Grey's Anatomy, whatever. And sometimes that's good because your parents know you, your friends know you, and they know what's out there, but at the same time you need to listen to what you like and what you're good at, because if you're not good at something but you think you're supposed to do it, it's going to be a very painful experience for you. So first you need to ask yourself a few questions before we start. The first one is, what kind of hobbies do you like? I always ask this to students that I meet with, and they kind of laugh at me like, why would you want to know if I go to the movies on the weekends? And to me, it's because, well, that's important. How cool would that be if you could be paid to do something you like? That's fantastic. I would not like to be paid for something that I don't like. That sounds like torture. So I think it's a good thing to pay attention to what hobbies you like. So do you like to be outside? Do you like to play a lot of sports? Do you like to watch a lot of movies? Do you like to stay home and cook? Do you like to be around your friends? Are you very sociable? Or do you like to be alone a lot of the time and you like to just have quiet time, or maybe you like computers a lot and you're really good at them? These are all very important questions. What do you do on your spare time, and what would you like to do with your spare time? Because if you can find a job that matches that, that's a really good thing. So for me, I mentioned I like psychology, and I went into this whole field of psychology, and I like talking to people about things in depth, and I like working out problems, and so that's why advising is a fairly good fit for me, because I like that. I like getting to the root of things, and I don't mind talking to people about it. And if I were very active on my spare time, then I might like a job that is outside instead. So those are important things that you need to know. The next thing is look at your classes now that you're in and pay attention to what you're good at. A lot of times, I feel like the majority of Miami-Dade County will try to push their youth into the medical field, and everybody wants to be a nurse, which is a fantastic career, and it's one of the ones that's making money right now for a lot of reasons. But are you good at math and science? Because if you're not, that's going to be very difficult for you, and you, first and foremost, need to have motivation to come to class in the first place. And if you have no motivation because math or science really sucks for you, then that's not a good fit, and that's going to be a very long, hard road for you. And most likely, if you're not good at it, then you might not get into their programs because they have very high standards. It's very competitive. So you want to know now and be honest with yourself now. What am I good at? Am I good at math and science? Am I good at reading? Am I good at writing? What do I have fun in? So right now, I'm guessing you're in some classes. It's a good time to think about what classes come easily for you, not because it's so easy, but because it's so fun for you, or you pay attention, or you look forward to it. For me, the classes that I loved in high school were math. So if I had paid attention to my skills in high school, I probably would be on a completely different career path, because math doesn't come easily for everybody. So it's important that you pay attention to your skills and take advantage of them too. You don't want to just say, oh, that's not an important skill. Every skill is very important, and you can use it wisely, and you can make money off of every skill. You just have to be smart about it. And then what do you see for yourself? It's very important to ask yourself that as well, because a lot of times people will go into a career because they heard it's good versus seeing a lifestyle for themselves. So if it's very important to you to make lots of money, then maybe look at careers that are promising in that way, because a lot of careers don't make lots of money, but they are a lot of fun. And you need to figure out what kind of lifestyle you want and what's really important to you when you're doing these things. Another thing is, do you see yourself in one career for the rest of your life, or do you see yourself bouncing around from career to career? Do you see yourself going to work 9 to 5 and then going home and that's it, that's your day, that's a really comfortable day? Or do you see yourself doing something different and working in different aspects and moving up or moving down or doing different things? That's a really important thing to pay attention to also, because a lot of people will say, for example, I really like nursing. That's a really challenging job physically. It's really hard to get into, but once you're in, it's a great career. You make lots of money, there's job openings, but you're on your feet all day and you're cleaning bedpans and you're doing a lot of stuff, and that's a great job if you're into it. But do you see yourself on your feet all day? Some people would say yes, and I think when you're in high school, it's very easy to say, well, of course, I'm young, I like that, I like to move around. Another thing on the flip side is to ask yourself if you see yourself at a desk job. A lot of times, like for me, example, I'm an advisor, as you know. I sit at my desk a lot, like all day. If I were to answer this question years ago, how do you see yourself in your position? I would not say sitting at a desk all day from 9 to 5. I would say that's absolutely boring, and I cannot even believe that someone would be willing to do that for the rest of their lives. So that's a really important question, because that is the main struggle that I do have in this position. I love talking to people and working with people and meeting people, but I'm sitting the entire time. And if I had asked myself before this, I might have found a career that could offer the same exact things, but in a moving sort of way. And so you want to make sure that you are comfortable with the career that you're going into, both monetary-wise. Are you making the money that you hope to make? Longevity, can you do that for the rest of your life? Or physically, what are you doing in that position? Those are really good questions to ask yourself before you settle on a career. Okay, so the next slide, I think we're ready. That is, now that you know yourself a little bit, what kind of careers are even out there? We know, I think that easily, we all know the big ones. Doctor, lawyer, police officer, nurse, all these big things with big titles and big aspirations. But there's a lot. If you look around at every single person you've ever met, they're in some kind of career, and it's probably not one of those careers because there's thousands, millions of different jobs that are out there. So you need to know where to start. So the best way to do that is with this website that I put up right now. If you have a pen and paper, I recommend you write it down, so that way the next time you're free and you're on a computer with internet, you can look it up for yourself. It's floridachoices.org. This website is made by the state of Florida, so basically working together with the Department of Education and then also with jobs and then the statistics of the state of Florida. The reason why I mention that is because it's pretty accurate, it's pretty up to date, and it's current and it's relevant. So it's not just this news article that you see on some obscure website that says this is a good career to go into. This website is more based on numbers, like this many people in the state of Florida have this job, so therefore you know that there's lots of them, or therefore you know that there aren't very many and maybe you should pick a different career. So when you go to floridachoices.org, the screen will look slightly different than what I have up here. It will have lots of different options for you to pick what kind of student you are. And it's important that you know that you are an adult student at this point because you're studying college, and so you want to click on that. You could probably pick on high school also, but since you will be graduating fairly soon, it's probably a good idea to build this research as an adult. So if you click on adult, this screen that is on your screen now will pop up, and you'll have the opportunity to explore career pathways. You'll see, I don't know if you can read it because it's very, very small, but you'll see there's a list of different links to click on. What I would recommend is explore career pathways. And the reason is because you basically get to look around and you get to shop around for a career. So like I like to look and think, well, if I hadn't done advising and I had done this instead, what would that look like? How much money could I be making right now? And how much schooling would it have taken really? And so I like to look around because it's a little bit of fun to look at that and compare and be like, oh, thank God I chose the right one, or oh my God, I could be making double what I make now. The neat thing about you is that you're so young that you can do this for your future. You can shop around and compare and say, well, I really want to do this, and then click on it and realize, oh my God, they make $20,000 a year. I can't live off of that. That's not the lifestyle I want for myself. And then you keep clicking around until you find something that really fits. So this is a really neat resource for you, and I'm going to show you a little bit more so you can see exactly what's in there. So when you click on Explore Career Pathways, then you're going to have a list of clusters. They're called clusters because it's basically a group of careers that are sort of similar. So like I mentioned earlier, nursing would be under the medical profession. And so when you are picking that cluster, you're going to get a ton of different careers that are in that field. So there's also finance, and there's energy and education if you want to be a teacher, or you want to work in higher ed like me, or you want to work in education somehow, you don't know how, you can click on it and it's going to list all the careers. The reason why that's really neat is because you and I mean, this is my job, but I don't know what all the careers are. I'm not that smart. I'm pretty smart, but I don't know everything. And you probably don't know all the careers that are out there because you haven't interacted with all of them. Why would you? So this website's pretty neat because it shows you all the careers, some that you've never even heard of or thought of or wouldn't even think to investigate. So it kind of sparks some ideas too. Because a lot of students that I have also come in and they're like, I don't really know what I want. I know I'm just supposed to be in college and that's about it, but I don't really care. And so we look through this list and I say, well, what do you like? What are your hobbies? And then we click on career clusters that match that. And then when we do that, then they're able to see lots of different ideas and it gets them really excited. So when you click on that, the list will look like this that you can see now on your screen. So you'll notice that there's a lot of different ones. And then when you find one that you like, or maybe you went to look up one in particular, you click on it. And when you click on that particular career, a whole new window will show up. And it will look like this, what you see on your screen now. And so you have, on the left-hand side are a bunch of tabs, different things that you can do within the website. It's not just career information, it's also an opportunity to take a skills test. So for example, you might not know anything about yourself. You might know, well, I like to hang out with my family and that's about it. I don't really like school that much. You can take this skills test and it will tell you your strengths and your weaknesses, and that will help sort of narrow down your career choice and what you should maybe investigate. So for example, one thing that's really funny about my career path is I actually got a degree, a master's degree in marriage and family therapy. So it was my plan to become a therapist and a child therapist because I think children are so cute and I like working with them. I did that and I didn't like working with children that much because our personalities didn't match. I don't know, it's hard for me to pretend like I'm a child sometimes. And so if I had taken this skills test, I would have noticed that my social skills are not quite where they should be in order to work with children. And I would have noticed that it wouldn't have come naturally to me. And so I might have maybe gone into adult therapy or something like this, which is academic advising, which is very similar to therapy in the qualities that it provides in your day-to-day work. So if you have no idea, am I a social person, or maybe I'm introverted and I don't like to talk to people, this is a very good skills test to figure out what should you even be doing with your life in the first place. Another tab that you'll notice is it tells you what degrees are required, and it says skills you need. So what to learn is the tab. I'm sorry, it's very little, I can't see it. So if you click on the what to learn tab, that's basically what degrees are required. So a lot of people will say, I want to be a physical therapist. That's fantastic, and it's a really good career to go into. And if you are into science, then that's a really good one, and I recommend it up and down. But when they're starting out, they'll say that, and then they'll think, oh, it's better than being a doctor because it's not medical school, and you work with people and you get to wear gym clothes, which is so fun because who doesn't like to wear gym clothes? But then we click on the what to learn tab and we realize, oh my gosh, this is not only an associate degree, which you could get at Miami-Dade, and not only a bachelor's degree, which you could get either here at Miami-Dade or another university, but it's also a doctorate degree, and it's a doctor level career. So it's pretty much like medical school, and a lot of people will realize, well, then maybe I don't want to be a physical therapist because I have to do a lot of schooling and I don't really know that I want to do that. And the cool thing about that is when you're clicking on a career and you see something that you don't like about it, there's a window at the top that will say other careers like this one, and so you'll be able to click on similar careers that maybe match up in the skills that are required, but the different levels of education that are required, or the different income levels. So that's an option too. So it's really important that you know, and if you really love school, then you might want to choose one that has a lot of schooling, because the more schooling you do, the better you're paid. But if you don't like school, that's really important to know how much schooling is required, so that way you can choose whether or not you want to do it, and that way you go into it knowing what decision you're making and not regretting it later when you realize, screw this, I don't want to do this anymore. And then the next thing that you all probably care about the most is, what is the pay? How much money do you make? That's really, really important, and it's really a humbling experience, because a lot of people think, I want a career that's going to make lots of money. And something I always say to students is, well, unless you pick a really good career, most of us don't make very much money. Most of us make about the same as the rest of us. We all make about the same as teachers, and so you need to know this now, and you need a reality check now. Or you need to know this enough so that way you can choose a career that will make you lots of money, and so that way you're not stuck in a career that doesn't make lots of money. And so if you look at the next screen, you'll notice that there is a tab on the left-hand side that says Money and Outlook. Money should be the indicator that that's what you're looking at. So when you click on Money and Outlook, you will notice that there are a lot of numbers for the the overall income, and then it will also tell you the market for the career, meaning, is there a need? Is there a demand for this career in the state of Florida? If there is no demand for this career, but it makes lots of money, that's a very tough career to get into. There are people that are there already, and you either have to wait for them to die off or retire before that position opens up. So you want to look and see, is there a market for this career before going into it? And so when you click on Money and Outlook, you will be able to see that. And then, so is there a demand? And then, is the pay okay? What you'll notice when you click on Money and Outlook, you can see the tiny little window that I have pulled up for you. It will have a list of all the different incomes. It will start with the average annual income, meaning in all of the state of Florida, everybody that's employed in this position, what's the average pay? And then below it, it will have all these other different incomes. So entry-level income, like if you graduate with this degree and you go and get a job, this is how much you make with no experience. And then also experienced level income. So okay, you started at $40,000, but experienced people in this position make $60,000. Is that something that you could live with? Is that something that you're looking forward to? It feels really good to people when they look at it and the entry level is above 60,000 and the experienced is above 100,000. It feels really good to play with that a little bit. So shop around for a career and look at all the different career options that are out there and how much they pay, how much schooling is required, and things like that. So I mentioned already the tab that says what to learn. So I click on it here just so that way you can get a sort of glimpse of what it looks like. And you're going to learn the educational requirements and the education level that is expected of you. If you look in the window that I have there, there is a little description of the education level. So, for example, this career that I had picked on, physician assistant, which is an excellent career to go into, you'll see that a bachelor's degree is required, and then also you'll need a certain type of licensing and you'll need a little bit of experience. And so that paragraph will explain all of that to you, because if you came to me and you said, I want to be a physician assistant, what do I need to do? I would kind of know, but I wouldn't know the ins and outs because I'm not a physician assistant. I'm not a physician or anything related to that, so I don't really know the details. If you know someone in the field, that's excellent because they have a real life experience that they can talk to you about, but this is as close as that you can get. So it's really a nice thing to look at. Then you want to ask yourself, do you want to be in school that long? That's like I mentioned, for people that want to do physical therapy, they think, oh, well, it's not a medical school and it's not quite the same and you get to wear gym shorts or whatever. Well, you still need to be in school for at least 8 years. Can you handle that? Do you like school that much? I know that when I was a kid, I was like, I want to be a doctor because I really liked ER was on at the time. I really like ER and I want to be a doctor. And then I went to the hospital and I asked some doctors, because I was nerdy like that, I asked them, what does it take to be a doctor? And they said, oh, well, first you go and get your bachelor's, and then you go to medical school, and then you're an intern at a hospital, and then you are this and you're that. And then I realized that's like 12 years before I actually am a doctor. And I said, no, never mind, forget it. That sounds awful to me. I just want to graduate and start making money. And so I never went into med school because of that reason. I had no idea. I was like in 4th grade. But this is really helpful for you if you have no idea what that career entails. You can look and realize, I don't know if I want to be in school that long. The other thing also, knowing what I know about myself and my experience in school and what all my friends experienced, you're young for a very long time. So if you look at something and you realize it's like 12 years of school, don't be too afraid of that, because if I had done 12 years of school, by now I could be a doctor and my student loans could be paid off and my life would be very different. It goes by really fast, so don't be intimidated. You just want to make sure that you look at it and you understand and you're up for the challenge and you plan accordingly. Okay, and then do you know where you're going to go for each degree? Another common thing is people will say, I want to be a psychology major. I love psychology, and it is great. It's a lot of fun. But in order to be a psychologist, there's a lot of different career degrees that you could get. You could get a master's in marriage and family therapy like me. You could get a master's in counseling. You could get a master's in social work, or you could get a PhD in counseling psychology, or a PhD in clinical psychology, or a dade, which is strictly counseling psychology, no research. There's so many different options. And the point I'm making is that you want to know what degree you actually want, rather than going out there and just sort of like majoring in something and hoping it works out. You want to know the long-term options so that way you can choose one that's best for you. I chose the Master's in Marriage and Family Therapy because it was a 2-year program after I already had my bachelor's, versus a PhD, which was 6 years, and I didn't want to be in school that long, so I chose the Master's. And then once you start picking some career options that sound interesting to you, and the pay is good and the schooling is good, then you can go to our website. I have the link there, and you can click on it and you'll be able to see a list of all of our programs that are here at Miami-Dade College. You click on each one and it'll tell you exactly what courses you need for that program. So you can say, oh, I found physician assistant, sounds great, you make lots of money, it's only this much schooling, and it's really high demand here in the state of Florida. Then you can go to the Miami-Dade website, which you have on your screen, click on physician assistant, and then look at the classes that are required. And when you do that, that's really powerful, because first you can see, do I even like these classes? Are they interesting? And then what you can look at is, oh my God, it's all science classes. Do I even like science? Can I even do that much science? And then you can really look at it. Or you can get really excited about it and realize, oh my God, I'm ready. I found my career. So I also, once you're shopping around on Florida choices, I also recommend pulling up a screen with the Miami-Dade credit program screen, so that way you can shop around for our majors and pathways that way too, and pick something that looks really fun and good to you. And it's always good to play around the Miami-Dade website, because it's a maze, and the more you get acquainted with it, the better. And then the reason why I chose this topic, I basically could choose any topic I wanted, and since I'm an advisor, you would think I would choose a topic about picking classes. But the reason why I chose this topic is because the more you know about what you want to do, and the more you know about yourself, the faster you graduate. Almost every single student that comes into me, they'll say, I don't care, I just want to get out of here. I want to get my degree and get out of here and start making money, or I want to get my degree and move on to another university. And I'm like, that's fine, that's great. I agree. Get in, get out, you want to move on with your life. But do you know what you want to do? If you don't know what you want to do, then I'm in an awkward position, because I don't really know what to tell you to take. I don't even know you. I've met you for the first time. So I don't know what kind of things you like, or what you're good at, or what you do in your spare time. You need to tell me these things. And it helps, and it makes it go by a lot quicker if you have thought about it ahead of time, and if you've done your research yourself. So if you come in and you say, this is the cluster that I want to go into, and this is the path that I'm interested in, I've done this research, then it helps me say, okay, well, you have a few semesters to figure out exactly what you want to do, but at least this semester we know the base classes that will apply to all those different options, so that way you don't waste any time. So that's the end of my presentation. It's a lot of information, and it's a little strange because I'm not actually talking to you. So if you have questions, you can go ahead and shoot them my way. If you look around where you're at, you should be able to see 2 people that will probably have lots of answers, and their names are Mike and Kim, and they are there. They're probably easy to find because they're adults and they work for Miami-Dade, so they'd be happy to help. They know everything that I know, and so they can answer your questions backwards and forwards. Like I mentioned in the beginning of the presentation, my name is Marquis Matson, and so I'll put my name up on the screen now so that way you can see it. I am a senior academic advisor. All that means is that I work with you, basically, students straight out of high school ready for Miami-Dade College. Mike is also a senior academic advisor, so he does the same exact thing as me. You will get one of us when you come to Miami-Dade College. It really just depends on what orientation you sign up for. So if you're interested in getting that information now, I recommend hunting one of them down and asking, how can I sign up for an orientation? So that way you're ready to go. But otherwise, we all have the same information. So I'm happy to be here for you. I'm happy to do this for you. It was a lot of fun, a new experience. And then if you want my email address or my phone number, want to stop by sometime, come on over. Mike and Kim will have that for you if you want. All right, I had fun. If you have any questions, you can pop them up now. I don't see any, so if that's it, then nice to meet you. Have fun. I will probably see you at orientation soon. In a couple months we'll probably start them up again. All right, bye.